The fourth session will resume very soon. So may the deputations and individuals please be seated according to the numbers we assigned.
I'll
Our deputations and individuals have already entered the conference room, right? So I announced the start of the fourth session. If individuals require interpreting service, you can obtain headsets. We have 3 channels, Cantonese, English, and Putonghua respectively. If you require such equipment, please raise your hands and our staff will hand you the equipment. I'd like to remind you that the oral and written submissions to the subcommittee will not be protected under the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance. And I'd like to remind all members of the public that we have a set of guidelines called Note for members of the public attending meetings in conference rooms or observing meetings in public galleries in the LegCo complex. And this note has been attached in the bundle disseminated by the Secretariat, so please be noted. I will invite deputations to speak one by one. You have 3 minutes each. For the sake of fairness, in the past 3 sessions, I used a timer to limit the time for each deputation to 3 minutes. I will do the same for this session. After you finish speaking, I will ask the Undersecretary to respond before members raise their questions. First, I'd invite Ms. LAI Wan-yiu, please. We are at the 4th session of the public hearing, and I'd like to talk about the school fees in kindergartens. And in 2014-2015, the upper reimbursement, the upper limit is at around $60,000 per year. A lot of parents have to pay out of their own pockets. We have a PVS scheme as well as a remission scheme. So why do so many grassroots parents have to pay out of their own pockets? So in fact, the remission scheme is fake, because for a $20,000 remission, there is a quota. There's a ceiling every year, which means that every month parents still have to spend about $1,700 before their children can be admitted to whole day KGs. And in the policy address earlier, they said that the PVS grants will increase by $2,050 PSPA, but with the increasing school fees to more than $7,000 for whole day KGs, the increase in voucher subsidy cannot catch up with the increase in school fees. And due to increase in rents, schools have to raise their school fees, and at the end, our parents suffer. The grassroots children will be the ones who suffer. And the government is saying they will introduce 15-year free education, and they will only provide subvention to half-day KGs, and they will consider providing subvention to whole-day KGs as well.
So is it that subvention will only be provided for half-day session students? I think we should have free kindergarten education for all. Education is not just about attending lessons. education is not just about acquisition of knowledge. Education is about other things like interpersonal skills, and so on and so forth. I think the fee remission should be or the free remission level should be the same as the tuition fee cap. We hope that the government will not pay so little attention to pre-primary education. And we should not just accept the present arrangements. Mr. Cheng, and I understand that for a 2P family, about the income ceiling for full subsidy is about $12,000, and then for a 4P family about $15,000. But I think both figures are higher than the 50% median figures. And then for a 5P or a 6P family, the threshold for a full subsidy is very high, because for a 5P family, the poverty line is drawn at $20,750. And do you know what the income limit is for a 5P family? Only about $17,000. So in other words, for a 5P family, if the family earns less than $20,750 a month, then it is regarded as a poor family. But then if the family wants a full subsidy, it has to be even poorer. And then for a 6P family, the poverty line is drawn at $23,600 a month. But then for the but then they need to be poorer, earning $19,900 a month before they can get the full kindergarten subsidy. So you can see that the income threshold for applying for full subsidies is very high. And so it's very difficult for grassroots families to get full subsidies. And then I want to say that for the income or the income threshold for full subsidies, that should not be pitched at the poverty line. For a 3P family, for example, 50% of the median income is about $12,000. So imagine how a 3P family can make ends meet with $12,000. I think we all know how expensive things are. And if the mother wants to take up a part-time job, then the family won't be eligible for a full subsidy. So we are of the view that it should be 60% of the median income in order to get the full subsidy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we have Ms. Chen Wai-yan. Good afternoon. I want to say something about the supply of places. We understand that the government intends to implement free kindergarten education in Hong Kong. But then there is a problem of the shortage of school places. I am a trainee social worker. In the North District, there are many families who can't find kindergarten places in North District. I think you understand why. And they have to send their children to kindergartens outside the North District. So you can see that this problem is seen not only in primary schools but also in kindergartens. And so there should be better planning concerning the supply of kindergarten places in districts like the North District. It's true that At the moment, kindergarten education is not compulsory. But then if parents can't send their children to kindergartens, they feel a sense of guilt. They are worried that their children may not be able to catch up with others, and they may call the Education Bureau, and the Education Bureau will say that they may get places that if there are surplus places available, say in February. So I think the government must solve this problem for the parents, especially in districts like the North District. In the North District, there is a great demand for kindergarten places. There isn't enough supply, and as a result, kindergartens charge application fees and extra application fees. And parents have to pay application fees, and then they have to pay reservation fees when their children are accepted by the kindergartens. And so this is a very heavy financial burden to the parents. And I think it's important that children be given the opportunity to attend kindergarten near home. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we have Mr. Ho Chak-hin. Thank you. I represent the Special Educational Needs Rights Association. We want genuine free kindergarten education. We want to see protection of children with special education needs. I understand that this year's policy address says that the government really cares for the children in Hong Kong. I want to say that there isn't an adequate supply of kindergarten and childcare center places for children with special education needs. Very often, these children are assessed only when they've reached the age of 5 or 6, and that's really too late. At the moment, kindergartens is not part of the 15-year education system, and then many training courses for teachers to teach SEN children are only open to secondary and primary school teachers, not kindergarten teachers. In fact, many kindergartens have difficulties taking care of SEN children. They simply do not have enough resources. Not all kindergartens have resident social workers or SEN officers. And so the government should give more support to kindergartens so that they can take better care of SEN children. Now, education is not just about studying and acquiring knowledge. SEN children face a lot of problems in the process of growth. And so when we talk about 15-year free education for all, we should take care of the needs of all types of students. For example, there should be more resident social workers in kindergartens. There should be more training courses for kindergarten teachers. And there should also be better support services for parents of SEN children. You know, these parents do face a lot of pressure when they take care of their children. So we hope that parents can be given more support services by the government. Thank you. Next, we have Ms. WU Yuen-kwan. Thank you. Parents whose children are in kindergartens have a very heavy financial burden. Parents, apart from paying school fees for their children, have to pay other miscellaneous fees about a few $1,000s a year. And there are different types of fees that parents need to pay. For example, textbooks, stationery, school uniform, refreshments at kindergartens, air conditioning fees, and also internet fees. I think the government should monitor these fee levels, and also these fees are charged in a bundled manner. Parents can't opt out; they have no choice. Now, I know of a kindergarten student who has six pairs of scissors and six bottles of glue, and this is because every time he goes to an activity, he is required to buy a bottle of glue and a new pair of scissors. And then at the moment, the subsidy given to parents is for the payment of tuition fees only, but then no subsidies are available for the miscellaneous fees. So children may be able to study free of charge, but then parents have to pay many other miscellaneous fees. So we hope that there can be proper monitoring concerning miscellaneous fees charged by kindergartens, and also there should be a learning subsidy for a kindergarten student. I understand that there is the subsidy for primary and secondary school students, and I think there should be a learning subsidy for each kindergarten student, about $3,500 per annum. Thank you. Ms. LEUNG Lai-kit, good afternoon. I live in CHENG Wai. I have a child in an M class, and the tuition fee is over $3,000 a month, and he will need to go to K1 in September. I'm really worried about the miscellaneous fees that I have to pay. Now, this kindergarten doesn't really charge a very high level of tuition fees, but then we need to pay about $3,800 a year for school uniform and for miscellaneous fees. And also textbooks. And the kindergarten requires an extra set of uniform to be put in the school bag, and an extra pair of shoes has to be deposited in the kindergarten. So in other words, we need at least 3 sets of uniforms and 2 pairs of shoes. And as a result, we may need to borrow money from friends in order to meet these miscellaneous charges, or we may have to cut down on our diet. In fact, my son, my daughter is now in M class, and my son is now my son is 5 years older than she is, and yet my daughter is still wearing her brother's school uniform, and I hope that the financial pressure of families like us can be alleviated. Miss Li Lan-chu, or are you Miss CHEUNG Xiao-ling? Miss CHEUNG Xiao-ling first. I want to speak in Putonghua. I have a child who is now studying K1 in Shengshui. The tuition fees are not very high, but then the kindergarten charges different types of miscellaneous fees. So for K2, I need to pay about $2,500 per annum for the textbooks, and then refreshment $100 a month. In other words, $1,200 a year, and then school uniform. I need 2 sets of summer uniforms, 2 sets of winter uniforms, so 4 in total, and these cost over $1,000. And then shoes, about $600 for the rubber shoes and also for the black shoes. And then of course we are encouraged to allow the child to take part in some extracurricular activities. And so I think we're talking about $10,000 a year and about $6,000 of miscellaneous fees. And I think this is a heavy financial burden to us. We need to meet our own expenditures. We need to buy uniforms for the child. In fact, when we tend to buy oversized uniforms for the child, so that the child can continue to wear the uniform for a few years. And sometimes we borrow books from other parents. We also get old uniforms from other parents. But then sometimes there are problems using old textbooks because all the stickers have already been used, and so the kindergarten does not encourage the use of old textbooks. And then for a half-day session, it only lasts for 3 hours. We parents, we in the grassroots sector want to find jobs, but then we have to take care of our children when they return home from kindergarten, so we can't work. So we hope that there can be a subsidy for the child to attend whole-day kindergarten so that we can work and increase the family income. Thank you very much. Ms. LI Lan-chu. I come from the North District. I have 2 children, Chairman. One is in P3, one is in K2. In fact, my daughter is in K2, in fact, she is in the same school or kindergarten as CHEUNG Xiao-ling's daughter. Now, we should try to protect the environment. That's why I have asked my younger daughter to use the books that my elder daughter used, but then the kindergarten always ask us to buy new textbooks because the stickers attached to textbooks have all been used. But then I'll need to spend over $1,000 on K2 textbooks, and in fact I'm spending over $1,000 also on primary school textbooks. And also for kindergarten textbooks, there are always new editions. Sometimes the cover is changed, and so it's difficult to use old books. And then when a new school year starts, the kindergarten asks us to buy new color pencils or crayons, although the old color pencils and crayons can still be used. But then I think it's a waste of resources and also a waste of money. And the publishers keep publishing new editions. And then there is that electronic pen to help teach children how to study, and that electronic pen costs $500 to $600. This amount is sufficient for us to take the child to a medical consultation with a private doctor. And then the kindergarten offers extracurricular activities. Now, when my elder daughter was in kindergarten, she attended English classes, about $400 every 10 lessons, and I believe now the fee has been increased to about $600 or more per 10 lessons. In fact, I don't want to send my child to these English lessons, but then I'm worried that my daughter will not be competitive enough when she wants to get into primary school in the North District. You know, when other children are equipped with a lot of certificates, and so they are more competitive than we are. Yes, Ms. Karen Yu, we think it's important that education be provided to children so as to enhance their upward social mobility. Now, according to the Convention on the Child, education services must be provided bearing in mind the biggest interests of the children.
From the perspective of social justice, there should be greater mobility. We should stress fairness, justice, care for people from different backgrounds. We should take into account differences in culture, and we should accommodate for differences in performance. Now, our council thinks that the committee adopts the half-day mode as the principal mode for kindergarten education. Will that achieve greater social justice? Now, the 3 to 3.5 hours isn't enough to take care of the injustice in the remaining 21 hours. For the interest of the children, we should be aware of the current situation. Now, according to our study, we see that 80% of the poor families and 70% of the low-income families have children taken care of by the mother. Now, this mode means pressure for the finances of the family. Now, for high-income families, in 42% of the cases, is the domestic helper who looks after the children. Now, very often the parents tell us that they work long hours, they cannot care for their children, they can't tutor their own children, and so when they fall sick, nobody can help. Now, at the focus groups, we find that many low-income family carers do want to go out and work to make money to help out, but there isn't enough service for childcare. There are long queues. SOCO is concerned that we should promote greater social mobility by putting children on an equal footing as they start out in life. Now, if you wish to submit written submissions, you can submit that after the meeting. Next, Ms. Zhang Liu Fan. I'm a parent. Now, my child this year has been fortunate in attending K1 at a long holiday KG. Now, my husband and I both work. Now, this is a very normal situation in Hong Kong. Living expenses and housing expenses are very high in Hong Kong. We are middle lower income family. Now, however, we are unable to enjoy many of the social benefits. If I don't work, can my husband alone earn enough to pay for the whole family? So the mother has to give up caring for our children, and I have to go out and work. Now, I find that in the recently completed housing estates and in newly completed residential buildings, the kindergartens found there are mainly half-day. It's very difficult to find whole-day or long whole-day kindergartens. there is great competition for the places available, especially for my child who was born in December. Fortunately, we were able to find such a school now, and we don't have to rely on CSSA. Now, I was able to go out and work. Now, in 2 months, I will have a new child, but I am concerned whether I will be able to find another long holiday KG where I can leave my child and so that I can go out and work. Now, for families like us, we can't get subsidy even if we try to apply. And the terms for subsidy are very stringent. Now, when I have 2 children, I doubt if our income would be able to support our family without me going to work. Now, the government has been telling us it will provide help, but it's been merely talk for a long time. The government is very reluctant to invest in our children so that they get a quality education. Now, the 3 hours of KG are not enough. Next, Mr. Li Tai-sheng. Now, let me try to talk about something light-hearted. Yesterday, I was talking to a nephew, 2 nephews, a boy and a girl. Now, they heard something pleasant, but something not so pleasant as well. The 2 children asked us, when will there be more money so that the children themselves can get more pocket money? And I told them in 2016. And the children asked, why is it that it takes so long? Now, it's been talked about since 2014-15 that there would be low-income subsidies. Now, can the subsidy be retrospective? I told them it cannot be. And they asked me, why is it that we get retrospective old age living allowance, but not for these subsidies? So I had to tell them that there would be 1 month of retrospective subsidy. And then the 5-year-old nephew, the boy, tells me, now, full textbook allowance. Now, is that only for primary and secondary school students? And I had to tell him that such allowance is not available for kindergarten, and the child was so unhappy. And he then said to me, I've been listening to people talk about 15-year free education. What is that? I don't know how to answer. I gave him a cake, and when he saw the cake, he cried. He said, Uncle, you are like the government. You give me a chiffon cake that rhymes the same as the word lie. So you are giving me a lie. So let me have some good answers, please. Next, Miss Ho. Now, Ho Yu-ying, I'm from the Alliance for Children Development Rights. Now, some Kai-fongs have come out today. Some come from as far as Xiangshui and CHENG Wai. Now, they can tell you how much pressure they are under from the school fees and miscellaneous fees. Now, even before he came into office, Mr. C.Y. Leung said that he would implement 15-year free education. And now we are told in the policy address that there would be a report in the middle of this year. We don't know when it would be implemented. And now we are told that the free education would only cover half-day KGs. Now the government says it attaches great importance to alleviating poverty, but it doesn't really understand the plight of the grassroots. Now, according to the Finance Committee documents in 2015-16, now the upper limit for whole day schools would be $67,000. Now, even though the government says that the voucher value would be increased by $2,500 a year, and there would be increase in the fee remission amount. Now, this doesn't really help the poor families. The money only goes to paying rent and to the developers. The grassroots families do not benefit. Now, we've heard that there are miscellaneous fees in kindergartens. The grassroots family cannot afford them. The children do not have school uniforms and shoes that fit them. They don't have their own textbooks. They have to use the uniforms and books left from their elder siblings, or they have to get them from other families. Now, can the government do more to support them with regard to the miscellaneous fees? Now, there is allowance for textbooks and books at the primary and secondary schools. So this should be extended to kindergartens too. And the government should understand the plight of the grassroots families. The uniform on the bench here has been worn by the children for a long time. The mother tried to repair that, and the miscellaneous fee receipt is now submitted. Please remain seated. The assistants will help you to submit the receipt. You are not supposed to walk across the chamber. This is past practice. This is a matter of precedence. If everyone can submit a sheet like this, it would cause confusion. Next, Mr. Leung. May I shout slogans? Please, you may not. Implement real free education. Provide subsidy for students' needs. This is not the time to shout subsidies. If you continue to shout subsidies, I would have to. Okay, please sit down. Mr. Leung. Now, I am of the Hong Kong Federation of Women's Centers. Now, we have been concerned all along about support for the poor women. Now, the work participation rate for women has been rising, but is still lower than that for men. 50.6% compared to 61.9% for men. Now, in the past, when we talk about child care service, now very often we see an education official instead of a social welfare official. Now the government has provided policy documents, and it says that the schools play a very important role in caring for the children. Now, very often when the women want to go out and work, they can't do that because the Education Bureau provides only education within 3 hours. Now, if the Bureau learns from Western thinking, it should consider the actual situation. Our center is located in Shamshui-po, where there are a lot of grassroots women who would like to go out and work. Now, when they want to go and work, they try to find kindergarten and childcare centers. Now, even when the child was just 1 year old, they would have to apply, but they would still end up on a waiting list. Now, the waiting list means that it's so long that they will not be able to be selected, and then they have to, the children have to attend half-day KGs. And when they go and try to get work at a restaurant, the restaurant owner says, I'm sorry, you have a child, it's difficult for me to hire you. Now, you should provide subsidy that extends to whole day KGs. Now, the Education Bureau should listen to the Chief Secretary for Administration and provide support to women who want to work. That would be more consistent among government departments. And now you should extend the subsidies to whole day KGs, not just half day KGs. Next, Mr. Leung Wing-shing. Now, yesterday I read the progress report. There seems to be many views expressed. Now, in the old days, the children had to help out in the fields, but in fact they went to work. Now, the government these days has money, but it only provides subsidies for half days only or for a small number of hours. Now, have we retreated in our approach? Now, we should adopt a comprehensive approach, not a compartmentalized approach. Now, you need many small compartments. You don't have the space for these small compartments. Now, you might just leave them out, these children out altogether. And the progress is like squeezing out toothpaste, and you squeeze in reverse. Now, I've heard people say that there would be one-off grant. I'm not sure what this one-off grant is. So does that mean I take the money home? And is that supposed to mean the different members of the family would have to pay for the shortfall? And I say, now that's not very benevolent. Now, you are really not making a commitment. Now, the strategy with one-off grants is not applicable to education. The education is what affects our children in the long term. Next, Ms. Chen Yu-hua. Now, when we look at the current system in Hong Kong, we know it's very difficult to find work for half day only. Now, your subsidy is only for half day KGs. If I work for half a day only, Of course, if I have a domestic helper, then the helper or the grandparent would just help out by letting my child watch TV. Now, fortunately, my child is able to attend a long whole day KG, so I can work in the afternoon.
And I can be sure that my child is taken care of by a professional, and my child can attend interest classes. It's better than watching TV at home with the domestic helper or his grandfather. You can see in a lot of countries that education is of paramount importance. When you invest on our children, they will become pillars of our society, and they will become the force of our society. But when you look at Hong Kong, the government is only helping WDKG. So what happens with children who go to whole day schools in Hong Kong? A lot of mothers have to work in order to earn a living. So what happens to their children? They are being ignored. If they can only attend half-day KGs, what happened to those attending whole-day or long-whole-day schools? Preschool or pre-primary education is extremely important, but you are only willing to bear part of the cost, and parents have to shoulder the remaining costs. So it doesn't work. On the one-off grants, we have seen a lot of troubles and problems in the welfare sector. In terms of salary, everyone would look at the amount of the grants and adjust their hiring strategy, and they would not hire a lot of people. But right now, the government is repeating the same mistake. When CY Leung first came into office, he said he would implement 15-year free education. So what now? It hasn't happened. Next, Ms. Yao Suwa. Thank you very much. A lot of women would like to work. But we see a lot of parents gathering in parks, waiting for their children to get off school. They only have 3 hours. They cannot go home, and they have no time to go elsewhere. And it's even harder for them to work because it takes an hour to go back and forth. No employer would hire someone who can only work 2 hours a day. Employers need people to get things done. It's very hard to get anything done in 2 hours. A lot of women want to work, but they couldn't. So when they stay at home, they face pressure from their husbands because these women have no money, and they don't even have the power to speak. And even if women are able to work for 3 to 4 hours, assuming they earn $30 an hour, they still have 100, or they can still make $100 or so dollars. So you have to provide subvention to whole day kindergartens. Thank you. Ms. Lam Laiwa. I'm a child care worker as well as the mother of 2 children. And in terms of free education, the government is only providing subvention for half-day schools of 3 hours, and it creates a great economic or financial burden for us. A lot of parents need to work, and if we need to work, we need to send our kids to whole-day KGs. If they only attend half-day schools, who can take care of them in the afternoon? But that's sad. We still have to pay for school fees, and even considering the PES scheme, I need to pay more than $5,000 in school fee for my 2 children, and sending them to whole-day KGs is one of the answers, because they are able, because I see that they have developed very well in different aspects, and so I think whole-day KGs are necessary, and you should provide subvention. You're only subventing 3-hour half-day KGs, and the parents have to shoulder the remaining burden if they send their kids to whole-day school. So it's a great burden for them. So the government should provide subvention. Ms. Lau Yin King. Thank you, Chairman. The Free KG Education Committee defines free education as at 3 hours. So as such, whole day KGs are excluded. And when we look at, we have 43,000 kids in whole day schools in 2013 to 2014. So it consists over 30% of the total number of KG students. So you can imagine that at least 30% of the parents still have to pay for basic education for their children. So under such scenario, how can we say that we already have free education? For a lot of Hong Kong people, the choice of whole day KGs should be a basic right. And it should not be an optional service as suggested in the report. The committee also suggested increasing subvention for whole day KGs for parents, but parents have to apply for fee remission scheme, and it's very complicated for them, and parents have to file multiple applications and provide a lot of document proof subject to approval from the government. Why don't you provide direct subvention to the schools in order to lower their school fees, or even allow for zero school fees? And as such, young parents won't have to shoulder such a big burden in school fees. And as such, the Evangelical Lutheran Church Social Service Hong Kong supports incorporating whole day KGs into our system and allow parents to make a free choice. And as such, we can finally achieve children-based education. And the government should achieve long-term planning and commit to our education system in order to facilitate a sustainable development of our education system, because education is the cornerstone for our future generations. I hope the government can review its education policy in the coming future. Next, Ms. Lai Wing-hei. I'm one of the members of the 7th Little Chief Executive Scheme, and in the 7th edition of the scheme, we submitted a mini policy address to the Under-Secretary, and we will circulate that mini report to members as well. And coming back to the topic today, lots of SEN children are studying in various kindergartens, and in general, the teachers weren't able to deal with these children with special learning needs, and this might hamper their growth. So we recommend that kindergartens should have the same resources and auxiliary facilities as secondary and primary schools, and a professional support team should be introduced to KGs to help teachers identify children who have special learning needs, and so that they can derive an appropriate teaching strategy and provide consultation, and referrals should be made if necessary. Next, Ms. Lau Seung-man. We are of the opinion that the government should implement 15-year free education as soon as possible to provide a fair learning chance for everyone. They should, apart from half-day KGs, they should also subvent whole-day KGs so that parents can choose the right mode of learning for their children according to need. The 15-year free education should support students with special learning needs as well. For children under 6, they face a golden period for learning. So when the children are age 1 to 2, the government should provide some training and education as soon as possible. And they should also provide some consultation for parents. They should the relevant bureaus in charge of healthcare education should monitor the implementation of such programs and measures so that children can obtain the assistance and support as necessary. And we should have a reasonable wage structure for teachers in order to retain talents. And the most effective solution would be for the government to offer subventions and establish a career ladder and framework. And I recommend that within 5 years, each kindergarten should contain 15% of its teachers who hold degrees. And the government should gather the efforts of different departments as well as the community in fostering quality early childhood education to ensure healthy growth for every child. Next, Ms. Wong Pui-man, Chairman, members, colleagues. I've been a kindergarten teacher for 16 years. For those who have been a teacher, you would be aware that the wages of the teachers have experienced a free fall. If we change to a new KG, then we wouldn't receive any pay rise. And according to the principles, no matter our qualifications, the starting wage point is still 0.7. The maximum is around $13,000. But for every other industry, you always get a rise when you move to a new company or organization. So this is incredible. And I was asked this morning that since the civil service can receive a back payment after this salary adjustment, are you going to receive the same? The answer was no. If we don't have a policy in place, then our wages would not benefit. But that said, I'm sure the KG teachers will continue to be dedicated to the children. So as such, we would attend classes after school in order to upgrade ourselves, and we would also study for bachelor's degrees, and hopefully we've always hoped to match with the secondary and primary school students in terms of qualification, but time again we are disappointed by the government. And my school is one of those long holiday schools that are not subvented, and we are talking about 8 to 10 hours of operation every day, and a lot of students are even more familiar with us than their own parents, and a lot of our students would call us mom. We have spent a lot of efforts on these children to develop them, but it's amazing that the government is not providing any support to long holiday KGs. So the teachers and our schools are being ignored. In other countries, early childhood education is given great emphasis, but when we look at Hong Kong, we don't even have stable wage levels and subventions in Hong Kong for the teachers. We are getting the cheapest salaries. Even if we want to buy gifts for children, we have to wait for sales. So that's all I have to say. Next, Mr. Lam Kian-chung, Chairman, members. I'm a father of 2 children. I want to share the scenario of a family with 2 working parents. We could not afford to buy a private apartment. Both me and my wife has to work. So I just want to talk about the need for long holiday KGs when we try to find a school for our children. Since we live in Cheung Sha Wan, it's very difficult to find long whole day KGs for our children. So we spent a long time searching. Sending our kids to LWD KGs are certainly helpful because both me and my wife has to work, and just like a lot of other companies, we have to work extremely long hours, and we can never get off on time because of the workload. So the long whole days KGs are certainly very helpful for us. They can provide extended services. That's the reality of the labor market now. We realize that the government is implementing free 15-year education. We are very happy at this proposal because we thought it can help save some money for us. But now we realize that the government is only subventing half-day KGs. So we are rather sad because families such as ours cannot benefit. So I hope the government can consider families in the lower strands of the society and understand our plight. Long whole day KGs aren't just about education, because our children can also learn to take care of themselves, and our children would take care of each other in school. So these schools are certainly very helpful. It's much more than childcare service. It's not just about leaving our kids in the school and picking them up again at night. We also want to enjoy family life, but under the workings, under the situation in Hong Kong, this is something out of our hands, and this is the challenge we are facing. If the mother gives up her work, oftentimes the father cannot possibly support the entire family. Next, Ms. Leung. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank all the parents and others for realizing that early childhood education is a very it's a profession in itself. So we are coming to the end of the hearing. So I'd like to take this chance to raise some requests for the trade. And earlier, the Education Bureau and Free KG Education Committee held an international forum on kindergarten education at HKU. It was attended by a lot of overseas delegates from UK, US, and Singapore, as well as 3 academics from HKU, and they each have their own agendas. The American delegates talked about the importance of fairness in KG education. The UK representatives said scientific should be adopted in terms of KG education. The Korean representative placed emphasis on family life and the learning capacity of the kids. And in Singapore, they felt that kindergarten education is a very important part of the society. So what about Hong Kong? Professor Rao from the HKU conducted a lot of studies locally to reflect the needs for early childhood education in Hong Kong. And Professor Richard Wong also estimated that if Hong Kong invests heavily on early childhood education, it would benefit the economy drastically. So I learned a lot during that forum. And Mr. Eddie, the secretary, was also present, and they were part of the moderator panel. But now we are at 2015. The government's vision is still very short-sighted in terms of enhancing KG quality and in implementing free 15-year education. I stress that the education sector does not agree with such short-term views and short-sighted views. We should have a comprehensive policy, and we should have very clear guidelines. We should have a blueprint to implement free education. Early childhood education must be reflected clearly in our entire education system, and we should refine our education policy. In the policy address, the CE mentioned that we need talents rather than money. So your time's up. Thank you very much.
Ms. Yeung Ho Man, good afternoon. The Secretary for Education, Mr. Eddie Ng, always emphasizes that free education is very, very important. Now, we unanimously think that the status of pre-primary teachers be enhanced. We want to see comprehensive and quality pre-primary education for all children. So we are concerned about quality education, the well-being of school children, and also enhanced qualifications for kindergarten teachers. We strongly oppose the lump sum grant model. If the lump sum grant is pegged to the number of students and nothing else, education will become like commodities. Kindergartens will make the financial considerations first and foremost, and then teachers have to spend a lot of the time promoting the kindergartens, for example, attending, organizing open days, distributing pamphlets, and they won't be able to spend a lot of time and energy on the children. And lump sum grant, the lump sum grant is not binding on the schools. Now, schools or kindergartens can, you can say that they can flexibly make use of the grant, but in fact, teachers will face a lot of uncertainty. Their salaries are pegged to their so-called performance. That so the arrangement is going to be very divisive. And when we change to other kindergartens, our salaries will be reduced, and as a result, we have to stay in the same kindergarten. We will have hesitation, getting married, having children, because our salaries are not secure. So I think there should be full recognition for our professional qualifications. I think the government and the education panel will not just give us the opportunity to give our views. We are of the view that pre-primary education must be fully subvented. Yes, Ms. Chair. Thank you. I want to say three things concerning pre-primary education. First of all, I support this review. In fact, the HKYWCA in 1948 started operating the first nursery. And we do operate half-day, whole-day, and long-whole-day kindergartens. We can see that parents in Hong Kong attach great importance to primary education. 100%, almost 100% of our children go to kindergartens. So in the eyes of parents, kindergarten education is as important as primary and secondary education. And so pre-primary education should be part of our fundamental education system. And then second, teachers are very important in deciding whether pre-primary education can succeed or not. And so a salary structure for kindergarten teachers is very important. I think there should be a professional pay structure for kindergarten teachers as well. And we, of course, want to see more women being able to take up employment. But then they won't be able to do so without an adequate supply of whole-day kindergarten places. If the subvention for fundamental or rather for primary education is restricted to a half-day session, then the rest of the burden will have to be shouldered by the families. Now we want to increase the supply of labor, and so the whole-day kindergarten expenditure should be shouldered by society and not the women or the families concerned. Thank you. Mr. Ip Chung Him. Chairman, I'm Ip Chung Him, and I understand that many members in this council simply do not understand the needs of the grassroots sector. Now, if CY Leung had honored the pledge he made in 2011, we would not have been here. We would not have needed to chant slogans. At that time, he said that when he became CE, then he would implement 15-year free education. I want to say something about the problems of the present system. You know, families do need whole-day education places for their children. Whole-day education, kindergarten tuition fees have been on the rise, $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Do you know that this is really unaffordable to grassroots families? If the children can go to a whole-day kindergartens, the mothers can work. If children can only attend a half-day session, then the mothers can't work. Some say, in fact, education can be received not only in kindergartens. Parents can take their children to museums, to parks, but I think these are things that only the middle class can afford. But then for the grassroots families, if their children can go to whole-day kindergartens, then they can work, they can get some extra income to supplement the family income, and they will have a bigger say in family matters because of their ability to earn some income. And also, children can play with other children in kindergartens and learn. And if we can show more respect for our kindergarten teachers, they will be able to provide a better education service for our children. It is said that the subvention will only be on a half-day session basis, and I'm worried that more kindergartens will operate by sessional classes, and as a result there will be fewer and fewer choices for parents. We want to implement genuine free kindergarten education, please observe the rules of the meeting and do not chant slogans. Yes, I am a mother. I have a child who is in P1. In fact, I didn't really plan to come, but I want to tell you my experience in as a kindergarten student parent. You can see these crayons, the glue, scissors, but of course I'm not allowed to bring the scissors into this conference room. And so we are given one set of these in each term. In fact, I want to give these to others in need, but then they do not need, other children do not need these because they are given, or they are asked to buy one set of stationery per term. And then textbooks, we can't use the old textbooks because the textbook fees and other types of fees are charged in a bundle manner. So the textbooks, the stationery, the refreshment, all these items appear on the same bill. So you can't say I only want the textbooks but not the crayons and not the scissors. And then the school uniforms. My child was in kindergarten for 3 years, and the design of the uniforms was changed once, and the design of the school bag was also changed once. And as a result, I was forced to buy new uniforms and new school bags. So the design of the new uniforms changed in K3, and so I had to buy new uniforms. And there is a lot of stationery at home. In fact, I wanted my child to study for the whole day session, but then there were only 15 places. We had to queue up and we did not succeed. And she's now in P1, and she is in a whole day school, and she still hasn't got used to having lunch at school. For children attending a whole day kindergartens, they have lunch at school together with their classmates. They are taught eating etiquettes. So I just want to say that for those children in whole day kindergartens, they can better adapt to primary school education and primary school life. All right, thank you very much, deputations, and I will now ask the Undersecretary to respond, and then members can ask questions. Yes, thank you. I thank this last batch of deputations. A lot of the concerns and issues have been covered in previous sessions. Now I want to talk about miscellaneous fees. Many have complained about miscellaneous fees charged by kindergartens in this session. So when we implement free kindergarten education, we'll of course look at the issue of miscellaneous fees. We will look at the present situation and see what can be done. So we know that parents have to buy for students the stationery, the school uniforms, and other items, and then the supply of places. A couple of years ago, it was reported in the media that there were parents queuing up to get application forms for their children. And we, in fact, have recently launched a new scheme, and the queuing situation has improved. In the Committee on Free Kindergarten Education, members also look at admissions and enrollment. So we hope that the queuing situation can further improve. I want to know how many members would like to ask questions. 4. Right, 4 minutes for each member. Deputy Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the last batch of deputations for coming. I think we will, on the basis of what you've said, decide what issues this subcommittee will be discussing next. And I think Ms. Leung has given us an account of the recent developments. She also mentioned an international forum held about 2 years ago. So different countries attach importance or give top priority to different aspects of pre-primary education. So, which aspect will Hong Kong choose? And Ms. Leung has said that we in Hong Kong lack a blueprint. And in fact, Ms. Leung has used the adjective short-sighted to describe the administration's approach. So, what is our starting point? And what is our main concern? Fairness is a concern expressed by many. We need to help families in need, families in poverty. You just need to browse the internet, and you see that enhancing the quality of pre-primary education and allowing more children to receive pre-primary education can help alleviate the problem of poverty. Now, and also in society, we have ethnic minorities, we have families where both parents need to work, and we also have the so-called families at risk. Families in which both parents pay little attention to their child. Now, of course, if a child a child may not need whole day kindergarten education if he or she can receive very good care from the family after a half-day session. But then some families and some children do genuinely need whole-day kindergarten education. Whole-day kindergarten education can help these children nurture their ability to take care of themselves so that they can succeed in life. So some children may come from very humble family background, but then they have as much potential as children from well-off families. And so pre-primary education is important to enhance the quality of our manpower. In the past, lots of attention was paid to primary and secondary education, and now we should also pay similar attention to pre-primary education. Just 1 more minute, please. Under Secretary. I understand that you have talked to kindergartens and with parents. But have you talked to parents from the grassroots? Thank you.
Do you know whether the Committee on Free Kindergarten Education has talked to grassroots families? I believe the committee has talked with subcommittees in the 18 districts, and I believe that would include grassroots families. I believe there should be a discussion specifically with grassroots families. Next, Dr. Kenneth Chen. We thank the deputations for coming today. I feel that there has been some disappointment in the way the deputations have spoken. It seems that they have been discouraged by the government's response, but they still have to keep talking. Somebody might listen. Now, during lunch today, 3 educational bodies came together. Those by teachers, the teachers, those involved, they unite in trying to get more achieved. In the committee headed by Mr. Moses Chang, we try to strive for a better system for the students and the teachers. This involves the direction of development for Hong Kong, whether it's for the voucher system or the commercialization of education. We might loathe them, but this is an opportunity to do something starting at the 15-year free education reform. Now, a teacher said that he attended a forum, the secretary attended, Mr. Moses Chang attended. I hope it's not just a photo op. I hope the undersecretary would forward the views that you hear today. A one-off activity is not a solution. The Civic Party thinks that it's a movement, a process to achieve our ends. Now, I understand that teachers, kindergarten teachers, worked for 10-odd years, and then every time they change a job, they start afresh, and they still earn $10,000, $10,000 to $20,000. But the government says we listen with sincerity. Now, if I tell you the secretary increased his salary by $20,000, what would you think? The government issued a press release last night, increased its own salary. It's been over such a long time, and yet the teachers are still getting such low salaries. Now, whether it's the committee or the government, they should be sympathetic. On the career ladder and on the salaries of the kindergarten teachers, we should find ways to restore fairness. Undersecretary, in considering how to tackle 15-year free education, we try to find ways to keep the talents in the primary education field. I know that the committee has already appointed a consultant company to focus on the salary issue. Next, Mrs. Regina Yip. I thank the deputations for attending the hearing today, whether it's the first, second, or third and fourth segments. I've been able to hear that it's not enough to support only the half-day KGs. Now, I wonder whether this approach is for financial reasons. Now, you are the one who pays for the subsidy. Now, if you think pre-primary education should be for 10 hours, is it that the Education Bureau doesn't want to pay for it? You think it should be paid by the social welfare side? Or do we try to provide equal opportunities to take care of the minorities and the disadvantaged so that everybody is on the same, starts out in life on the same level? Will you try to strive for these goals, Undersecretary? Right now the discussion is still with the committee. Now I know that one of the concerns, as Mrs. Regina Yip says, is that we need to find out whether we need half-day or whole-day pre-primary education. If the latter is found to be desirable, then everyone should enjoy whole-day KG education. Right now, it seems that not everyone needs to stay in KG for the whole day. But I understand that there are needs within society. So it's not a department by department approach. We see that there is a community-wide need. We try to subsidize the needy families so that they can attend the half-day or whole-day KGs. Now, which department or bureau would shoulder the financial costs? Now, that would be another consideration within the government. Not all students need whole-day KG education. That is what we observe. So you think for children 3 hours is enough? Now, I checked my records. When I attended kindergarten, it was also for 3 hours per day. But many parents need whole-day education because they need child care when the parents work. Both parents work. Now, other policy objectives are involved. Mr. Secretary, you need to tell the government to adopt a holistic approach. Now, you shouldn't just say we will pay only for 3 hours. The rest should be paid for by the social welfare side. I hope that the Bureau Secretary should get together and resolve this. We have already shouldered the burden for whole-day education. Now, even though there is a greater element of child care involved, we will still try to get the resources here at the Education Bureau. And now questions from me. Now, in the first segment, I had my views on the salaries for the teachers, and just now I talked about the situation in long whole-day KGs, and now there's a shortage of places, especially in North District. Some teachers also talked about professional training. It's also very problematic. Now, the number of places, professional training, the supervision of collection of miscellaneous fees. Now, what are your thoughts on these when you consider 15-year free education? Now, the schools should be subject to more supervision. For instance, regarding the school places and the miscellaneous fees. Madam Chair, we agree that we should look at supervision of these matters. I don't know whether the subcommittee, whether the committee has already some certain inclinations. Deputy Secretary, regarding what the chairman said, now the Committee on Free Primary Education and the subcommittees all discuss these matters, including professional training, career ladder, professional development. The committee has suggestions on all these. Now, supervision is also important. Under free primary education, the government would certainly inject more resources than before. Now, one of the work groups will focus on the governance and on supervision of kindergartens and how to enhance their performance. Now, right now, there are enough places in kindergartens that it covers both half-day and whole-day KGs, but there may be a greater demand than supply in certain districts. So last year we carried out some enhancement measures. The year before last we carried that out in North District. It's been very effective. Very soon the parents were able to find places for their children. For the year 2015 to 16, there's still very tight supply situation. So this year we adopted some enhancement measures for admissions. Now we try. Now we already see improvement in the queuing situation. There will be a registration day. Every child will take a voucher to register, so the children will not take up duplicated places, and places available would be released quickly to parents. Now, a parent said phone calls were made to the Bureau and the Bureau was unable to help them. Now, will you be able to help these parents who need places? Now, one of the speakers, Ms. So, has left. I hope she could leave some information. Now, she said that the school bags were changed twice within a short time. Well, if there are complaints, we would certainly deal with these. Now, on unified registration, there will be several days of unified registration later this month. After 1 week, about 1 week after that, we would put together all the surplus places and we would release them in one go. And the parents will be able to get the information on the internet, and then the parents can go and register at the KGs with places available, and our staff would be able to provide further help. On miscellaneous fees, now in the past couple of years we already stepped up the supervision. Now all along, when schools charge miscellaneous fees or sell non-essential articles, we supervise them. But for certain kindergartens, they might have done certain things that are not so desirable. I hope the parents would tell us about these, and then we can find out from the schools. The second round, Vice Chairman, 3 minutes. Now, just now we talked about fairness. Now, a fairness issue concerns children with special education needs. Some deputations have touched on that. Now, if the KG is not of the right quality, it will have difficulty meeting the needs of the students with special education needs, and the child will have difficulty moving on to another school later in life. Now, the secretary said that the approach is holistic, but I believe this part is actually under Social Welfare Department. So I believe there is a separation here now. So long holiday education, long holiday KGs do cater for students with SEN, but not half-day schools. So quite a lot of children with SEN are still in ordinary kindergartens, and their needs are not met by the Education Bureau. So at the task groups, are they looking at this issue? Can they report any progress here? Now, for students with SEN or special education needs, now we are all concerned about the matter. Now, on the division of duties in this regard, now if the child is already assessed to have SEN, then the service would be provided by the Social Welfare Department, but perhaps it's not yet time for assessment, or they are not already assigned a school that caters for SEN children. Then in those cases, our staff would go to the KGs and try to help resolve the issue. Now, long term, this is an issue examined by the committee. We will, of course, continue to talk to Social Welfare Department to see how we can cooperate better. We are working on that. Now, when children are at the age of 6, there is a clearer understanding of their real needs or level of capabilities, which is more difficult at the age of 2 and 3. So we try to assist the KGs how they can do better in this regard. In the second round, myself, now I believe that the SEN work can receive appropriate support at the KG level, because when we know that people have to wait a long time for the training by the Department of Health and so on. Now, children do need to attend school every day, so there should be appropriate support at the KG level. So I hope that your report would cover this issue. Also, some parents talked about the frequent change of editions in textbooks, and there was hope that you could provide subsidies to grassroots parents. Now, on change of textbook editions, perhaps a colleague of mine can provide an answer. Now, on further subsidies, now we are looking at it on a holistic approach. Now, the committee is trying to identify what are essential needs for kindergarten education, and so we try to decide what's essential, like textbooks or uniforms. Change of textbook editions, is there monitoring and supervision right now? Now, to my understanding, the KG textbooks subject to supervision when the editions are changed, same as for textbooks, same as for textbooks for primary and secondary schools. But in many cases here, we are not talking about textbooks, but teaching materials. We hope that the parents can tell us about such cases, and then we can get an understanding from the school. Vice Chairman, third round, 1 minute. I hope the administration, the secretary and his colleagues can reflect the concerns to the right authorities. Now, well, I hope we would soon see the last of the functional constituency members. But I must be fair, Mr. Abraham Sheikh, I must say that Abraham Sheikh has expressed a lot of concern about education. So functional constituencies should be abolished, but some members are very devoted in this regard.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the meeting today. If you have further comments, you can consider submitting them in writing. And you can also leave your speeches here for members' reference, but please write your names on your speeches. If there's no any other business, I announce meeting adjourned.